Hello, my name's Tom, editor of the Popcorn Muncher, and I'm here to talk to you today about Oscar bait and why there's no such thing as Oscar bait. Every year at this time of year, as the Oscar nominations come out, everyone is talking about how certain films are Oscar bait. They're calibrated solely to win awards. Filmmakers go out and make these films because they want the glory, they want the red carpet. But I'm here to say that simply is not the case. Despite what people say, these films are not Oscar bait. So the type of films we're talking about, the definition of Oscar bait, is these big, prestige, historical films where they star big name actors, big performances, broad movies that are designed solely to appeal to the kind of person who is an Academy voter. The granddaddy of these sort of films is The King's Speech, which was nominated 12 times and ended up winning 4 awards, including Best Picture. It is considered to be sort of stuffy, middle-brow, broad stuff that Academy voters can get behind, and therefore dismissed as an Oscar bait movie. However, for me the problem is simple. No one makes films to win Oscars. That would be a terrible way to make a movie. Filmmakers pour their passion into films. They spend a whole year of their lives, along with the cast, along with the crew, along with everyone involved, putting together the best creative work they can. They're not bothered by winning awards. It would be nice, I'm sure they love winning awards, but that's not why they make these films. The classification of films as Oscar bait often comes down to distributors and marketing teams. It is them that look at a completed film and decide a December or January release date would be best, to give it a festival push and to push it for awards. That is not down to the creative team, it's not down to the filmmaker, and it does not make the movie Oscar bait. The fact that it's marketed to appeal to Oscar voters does not mean that the film itself is invalidated as a mere piece of awards propaganda. So no film, in short, is made to win Oscars. They simply have Oscar status thrust upon them. But people argue that films are made to be Oscar bait because that helps them to make more money. And it's true that there is a box office bump associated with being nominated for Oscars. But that bump is negligible, particularly for films like Darkest Hour, like Dunkirk, big, broad historical movies that do a great job with the tea time crowd. They are, the Grey Pound is now a big place of cinema, and these films appeal perfectly to those people. But that doesn't mean that they're Oscar bait, and in many cases, the box office bump is really small. Films like this are going to make money regardless. Darkest Hour made £4 million in the UK before it even got near any Oscar buzz. So for me, that does not mean that the films are particularly made in this way. In fact, the films that the box office bump is important for are small films, tiny indie micro-budget features like The Florida Project, which just missed out on a Best Picture nomination this year. Sean Baker's film is a tiny piece of work, it's a really small film, and the nomination for an Oscar could have really helped it to get more eyes in front of it. But those are not the sort of films that are called Oscar bait. No one saw The Florida Project and went, oh, that's a waste of time, it was just there to win Oscars. That discussion simply didn't happen, because people see the film as more artistic than that, because they don't see it as the kind of film that wins Oscars. And that is the problem we have here. People also say you make your film an Oscar bait because it has status for the performers involved. It helps them in the future. I mean, tell that to the people behind the artist. That won a ton of awards, including Best Picture, Best Director and Best Actor, but no one is knocking down the doors of either Michel Hazanavicius or Jean Dujardin. In fact, just about everyone other than me has had to Google those names because I'm the only person who hasn't succumbed to the backlash surrounding the artist, and I still think it's a charming film. And I do think those men should have more opportunities. But the fact they haven't got them is a testament to the fact that being Oscar bait did not help them at all. This year's big Oscar bait movie everyone's talking about is The Post, which has managed a couple of nominations and has done well in various award ceremonies. It was the Film of the Year for the National Board of Review. People point to the fact that this is a film Spielberg made in less than a year. He did it while he was doing post-production on Ready Player One. He cast Meryl Streep, he cast Tom Hanks, an ensemble of credible supporting actors, timely subject matter, historical subject matter, period feel, very broad. It has to be Oscar bait. But no, not at all. That subject matter is timely, and that's why it was made quickly. This is a film for the time of Trump's America. It's about the importance of the press and the freedom of the press, but that doesn't make it Oscar bait. And as for casting Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, you cast them not because they're going to win Oscars, but because they're Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks, arguably the two best actors in the world. If I could cast them in a movie, I would, and I'm sure every filmmaker working in Hollywood would do exactly the same. That doesn't make the movie Oscar bait. It just makes the movie the kind of film that's palatable to Oscars, and also a very good movie. And that's, I think, for me, the problem, that it comes down to a really reductive way of looking at the movies. Just because a film's nominated for Oscars and it feels like the kind of film that's been nominated before, that doesn't make it just Oscar bait. That makes it a good film that happens to be nominated for Oscars. Every year there are great films that are dismissed just because they're Oscar bait, and a film that has these sort of qualities but doesn't get nominated is dismissed even more as failed Oscar bait. And that really grinds my gears, because these are films that are a result of heart, soul and passion, and they should not be judged just on whether they're nominated for awards, because that wasn't what they were made to do. They were made to be good films for people to enjoy, and they're an expression of creativity, not a grab for red carpets, a grab for fancy dresses, a grab for awards. These things are about more than the acceptance speeches. They are about cinema and they are about quality. So stop calling them Oscars bait, because Oscar bait does not exist.
To make this decision, to risk her fortune and the company that's been her entire life, well, I think that's brave.
If the government wins, the Washington Post will cease to exist.
But let me know what you think. I'd love to know your thoughts on Oscar bait, whether you're on my side, because someone needs to be saying that these films don't exist, or whether you think Oscar bait is real and a depressing scourge on cinema that makes January at the multiplex really difficult to live through. Leave your opinion in the comments section. Also be sure to like the video if you enjoyed it, and please do subscribe to the Popcorn Muncher channel as well, and check out my previous video on the top 5 Liam Neeson action movies. You can also check out all of our stuff at thepopcornmuncher.com and follow us on the various social media channels you'll find there. It's really appreciated. But thank you very much for watching.